So, what is your favorite car brand? Why? I bet you have one. We want to know. Hi, my name is Douglas Spencer, and I am from Spencer Brenneman, Strategic Branding, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Pete Abernethy, who is president of Joy of the Drive, and we are going to talk about the role that brand plays in automobile purchasing decisions. So, Pete, welcome. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Quickly, the Joy of the Drive is a company I founded, which is uh, based on the idea that I like to help people make educated decisions when buying cars. I'm a truly independent, unbiased source to kind of help people walk through the process, and I'm just a real car fanatic at heart. So I'm happy to be here to kind of help discuss these issues.
Great, great. Well, I am a car fanatic too, not nearly at your level, but I love cars as well, and I love branding. So I promise I'm going to try to keep this to 10 minutes or less, but I really think we could go on for hours. But so talk to me. Brands, car brands are so powerful. How often, when your customers come to you, how often do they already have a really solid connection with the brand that you have to either work with or work around?
Well, I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that more often than not, my clients come to me with a perception, whether it's a positive or a negative one, about a particular brand. Whether or not that's the brand they want to look at is another story completely. But really, it's certainly something I deal with on a regular basis. And part of my business is helping people to either confirm or refute that existing perception. There are certainly brands that have reputations for unreliability and others that have the opposite effect. But certainly much more often than not, if I had to put a number on it, I'd say probably 7 out of 10 people that come to me have some idea, something that already exists in their minds about whether a brand is going to work for them or not.
Mm-hmm. Are they able to articulate what that is? Do they cite something like safety, or how often do they just say, I just like them. I just like fill in the blank.
Yeah, certainly that's the case. Often it's related to some incident years ago where it broke down, left them stranded, which really is more the exception than the rule in a lot of cases. But sometimes it is tied to legitimate research or experiences in the past of having owned vehicles over a long period of time. It's difficult to say which is more predominant, but more often than not, it is tied to some form of solid evidence, towards a certain vehicle or brand.
Okay. Okay. So how do you think that brands can work to really connect with customers on a level that just makes them want that brand, and even to the point where they don't really listen to the facts and figures?
Sure. Well, I think a prime example of this, I was thinking about this the other day. An example of this would be Subaru. As a former Subaru owner, specifically an STI, which is one of their more sporting vehicles. It's really interesting how they have done as a company, as a corporation, how they've done a fantastic job in fostering online communities where people help each other out and talk about the cars. And what that really develops is an extremely loyal community, a sense of, if you're buying a Subaru, you're buying into a community of people that are there to help you out. And, I guess my answer to your question would be, brands, I think, really need to pay attention to these online communities. The chatter that goes on around certain cars and brands online is tremendous. I try to keep tabs on it, but it's so difficult. So I understand this is definitely a case of easier said than done. But the wealth of information online, on the internet, on these vehicle and brand specific forums is tremendous. And I think that would be an easy place to start, to kind of listen to your existing customer base, because they're obviously your more loyal customers, and they're out there telling the world how great their Subarus are, how great their Hondas are, and so forth.
So that's interesting. So you're saying that these online communities not only build community, but they give car manufacturers and brands a source of information that they can work with.
Absolutely. And again, using Subaru as an example, Subaru of America corporate is actually fairly heavily involved and active on these online communities. And while they may not, admit it, they're definitely watching and they're listening, and they appreciate the loyalty that these people have. They're online every day chatting about common problems or things they've done to your car, their cars, and it's really a true sense of community. So I think, using Subaru as an example, I think a lot of other brands and manufacturers would do well to follow their lead.
Yeah. How have you seen any? Have you seen any car manufacturers really in these forums or any forum really address issues that pop up around their cars, and how do they do damage control really if the brand is suffering at all?
Sure. If you see kind of brand-wide or manufacturer-wide issues, more often than not, it'll pop up. Taking the Takata airbag recall, for example. I think I found out about that on the forums before I heard about it, officially through kind of traditional news channels. I saw that Toyota was affected in my vehicle, not specifically, but it's amazing how quickly, even if it's not an official spokesperson from the manufacturer or the brand, somebody's found out, and through whatever channel, it's all relayed online, and it gives people a sense in those instances, okay, they've got my back, I'm ready to kind of tackle this with the rest of the community.
Right. So what do you do if somebody comes to you with this connection to a brand, or that they're just glommed onto a brand and they just won't let go? I think at the dog park, you mentioned to me once about Jeep. So how do you talk to folks about brands that they're connected to that they maybe shouldn't be?
Sure. That's often a tricky situation, because you want to be tactful when you speak to these people, but that's where I think my expertise is really appreciated, because I'm truly an unbiased, independent source. I'm not trying to sell them anything that I've got sitting on the lot behind me there. But really what I try to do is show them the cold hard facts, the research. I spend hours researching any recommendations I make. I've driven all these cars. I think two brands that are kind of, making moves in the right direction are Kia and Hyundai. People had these ideas that Korean automakers were just putting out junk for the longest time, and now they find themselves near the top of almost every list. And that's all about kind of changing perceptions. And I often have to tell people, listen, these cars aren't what they were X number of years ago. So it's often been a little while since people, maybe had a bad experience, or had a friend who had a friend who had a car that broke down. It's just all about educating them properly with numbers and firsthand experiences with these vehicles that they have, either bad or good, or accurate or inaccurate perceptions about.
So another thing I think we could recommend to brands is to make certain that their facts and figures are right and readily available, so that they could really help folks like you and other people who are making decisions make the right ones.
Yes, absolutely.
So we got that, we got listening, we got build community. It's pretty good, right?
I think that just about covers it.
All right. Well, listen, we could go on, and you know what? We probably will be back in a few months with, when the car shows start going on. But thanks a lot, Pete. Tell everybody how to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at www.joyofthedrive.com. I'm on Facebook as well at The Joy of the Drive, and on Twitter at The Joy of the Drive. So it's all pretty straightforward there, but obviously just always ready, willing, and able to talk cars with whoever wants to listen.
Right. All right. And I'm happy to talk brand with anybody who wants to listen. So it's a good match. All right. Pete, thanks a lot. This has been fun, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Doug. Same to you.